And good afternoon. You're listening to Ken Hudnall. This is the Ken Hudnall Show. Coming to you from our studios right here in exciting El Paso, Texas. Gateway to the Old West and the most haunted city in the country. Well, today's February the 16th, the 47th day of this new year. Just 318 days to the year's over with, and we'll start a new one. Well, we're going to do holidays and observances in just a minute, but before we get started, I do want to mention something a lot of listeners have been asking me about. A place where you can actually read the full investigations that we talk about on the show. You know, over the years, and I've been doing radio for over 30 years, I've covered hundreds of cases, and a lot of them simply don't fit into a 1-hour program. So I started putting the complete research into books, documents and timelines and witness statements, things that I can't get into on the air from time constraints. And they're now available on my website, Hudnall Files, HUDNALLFILES.com. And we've got over 30 titles up so far. Everything from assassinations and historical mysteries to the Shutta Zone military encounter series. Now that one will keep you up at night. If you ever listened and thought there has to be more to the story, well, you're absolutely right, and this is where it's at. You can also listen to the show on HudnallFiles.com, as well as see a lot of the archive shows. Well, holidays and observances for this February the 16th. National Almond Day. Small but mighty nuts, packed with protein and healthy fats. Making a great snack to keep you filled throughout the day. Islander Day. Daisy Gatson Bates Day. Now, if you're not familiar with that name, she is a trailblazer in the civil rights movement. The day honors Daisy Gatson Bates, who played a crucial role in the fight for school integration in Little Rock, Arkansas. Her courage and leadership made a significant impact on the movement for equality and justice in education. And beyond the well-known headlines of the Little Rock crisis, Bates' legacy also spotlights the steady behind-the-scenes work that makes social change possible, organizing families and communicating with the press and documenting injustices and refusing to let intimidation set the rules. You know, in my younger days, I spent a little bit of time in Little Rock. My father's family's from Arkansas. And I heard a lot of stories, and her name came up quite often. Well, it's Nova Scotia Heritage Day, Innovation Day, Elizabeth Perlatrovich Day. That's another name you might not be familiar with. And celebrates an incredible woman's fight for equality. She was a Tlingit woman who played a key role in passing Alaska's Anti-Discrimination Act in 1945. Her efforts led to this landmark law, which was the first of its kind in the U.S. And the Elizabeth Perlatrovich Day also serves as an inspiration for future generations. Her story shows how one person's courage and persistence can bring about real change. And, having grown up in the Deep South, I understand just how set in stone a lot of the beliefs are. It takes real courage to go against the flow. Kyoto Protocol Day. National Do a Groucho Favor Day. National Tim Tam Day. That's an irresistible chocolatey treat from down under, with its unique way of making any moment sweeter and more delightful. Cream Bun Day, Family Day, President's Day. Leaders' achievements are celebrated, flags fly high, and a break from the usual hustle gives everybody a moment to relax. The Carnival of Brazil, which goes on through February 21st. National Nest Box Day, National Entrepreneurship Week, Cancer Prevention Action Week, Goa Carnival, Carnival de Barranquilla, Hockey Week across America, Real Bread Week, the Carnival of Beach, Make Mine Chocolate, National Condom Week, and Love Teaching Week. Famous people born on this date: The Weeknd, Elizabeth Olsen, Ice-T, Mahershala Ali. Well, it's a lot of what we be discussing tonight has reminded me of something I covered in one of the books. The difference between what makes news and what never gets reported. No matter who you listen to or who you watch on TV, they only give you what's accepted, because every show has time limits, and they give you I guess you can call it the hook that gets your attention, and then the rest of it is kind of pushed off to the side. And that's why I came up with the books that you'll find on HudnallFiles.com. Well, now we move to the stories in the news. Law enforcement sources questions the latest theory as the search for Nancy Guthrie enters its third week. This 84-year-old woman vanished from her home. And I saw actually a billboard here on El Paso offering reward and talking about Savannah Guthrie's mother. The burglary theory in Guthrie's case is ridiculously rare, according to law enforcement sources. New reports attributing her disappearance to a burglary gone wrong were disputed by a law enforcement source yesterday as investigators push back on what they say is not the leading theory in that case. The source said the latest theory behind the missing 84-year-old's disappearance is not currently the prevailing view among investigators. According to that source, this is not the working theory inside the unit, noting that the nighttime residential burglaries especially, are uncommon. Nighttime residential burglaries are ridiculously rare, crazy rare, according to one source. Commercial building burglaries happen at night, and residential happen during the day. And the source also questions whether Guthrie's house would have been a likely burglary target. They don't have any indications Guthrie really kept anything valuable there, and if this was a burglary gone wrong, they don't take the victim with them usually. They leave her laying in the middle of the floor. Well, Iran says the U.S. must prove they want to do a deal on nuclear talks in Geneva. That's like the mouse telling the elephant, prove you really want peace, rather than just stomping on the mouse. Iran claims it's open to compromise with the U.S. on a nuclear deal if the administration is willing to discuss lifting sanctions, according to a senior Iranian official. Ravanchi, Iran's deputy foreign minister, said in an interview the ball is in America's court to prove they want to do a deal. If they're sincere, I'm sure we'll be on the road to an agreement in no time. We're ready to discuss this and other issues related to our program if they're ready to talk about sanctions. The Takit Ravanchi's comments came as Iran's top diplomat traveled to Geneva for a second round of indirect talks with the U.S. delegation. Abbas Araghchi left for the Swiss city following an initial round of negotiations last week, with Oman again mediating the next round of talks. That's according to Iranian state media and the Associated Press. Our U.S. officials, though, have emphasized that Iran, not the U.S., is holding up progress in a negotiation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Saturday President Trump would prefer to reach an agreement, but warned it was very hard to do one with Iran. Past diplomatic efforts had collapsed in 2025 after Israel launched what became a 12-day war with Iran and the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Well, the one sentence in Rubio's Munich speech that revealed President Trump's red line for Europe was interesting to note. Standing in Germany, whose Cold War fault line once symbolized the division of a continent, Secretary of State Marco Rubio delivered President Trump's red line for Europe. We in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline, he said during his Friday remarks. He called for tighter borders, revived industry, and reassertion of national sovereignty, arguing the West's drift wasn't inevitable, but the result of policy choices the Trump administration now intends to reverse. We don't seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history, urging an alliance that boldly races into the future. Well, we'll see what comes of all that. A Massachusetts auditor takes a transparency flight to high court after an alleged $12 million fraud was uncovered. Democratic state auditors taking Massachusetts legislative bodies, including members of her own party, to court after uncovering nearly $12 million in alleged fraud in public assistance programs, seeking to enforce a voter-approved audit law. She asked what they were hiding. If there's nothing to hide, open the doors and let the sun shine in. Let's do the audit. Massachusetts State Auditor Diane Zigoglio said in Saturday in America. She's a Democrat and former member of both the Massachusetts House and Senate, filing a complaint with the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court to enforce a 2024 ballot measure that authorized her office to audit the legislature. That measure passed with 72% support. Legal action follows a report from the Massachusetts State Auditor's Office identifying nearly $12 million in alleged fraud in fiscal year 2025 alone. It's across several public assistance programs. So it's not just Minnesota that's got fraud issues, Massachusetts as well. Well, Mehdi Hassan ripped LeBron James over Israel comments at the NBA All-Star Game. Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James faced criticism from former MS Now host Mehdi Hassan on Sunday after he was asked whether he had a message for fans back in Israel. James held a separate press conference before he played in his 22nd All-Star Game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. He was asked for all the Israeli fans, what message would you like to send to Israel? What do you think about the Portland Trailblazers All-Star Denny Avdija? He said, I've been quoted on Denny already and what I thought about his season, and I believe he's an all-star, and he is an all-star, and he's playing exceptional basketball, so that's that. But then if I had fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans there, I hope you've been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not only want to be great at sports, but to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I could make it over there. Like I said, never been there. I've heard great things. I appreciate the question. Well, Hassan, who has a history of controversial statements about Israel, weighed in. He wrote on X that he thought LeBron was a disgrace because he wouldn't condemn Israel. Well, Costco launches a mobile app ordering for custom cakes and deli trays, easing customer woes. Digital upgrades ends a decades-old paper form system that required customers to visit stores to put in their special orders. Sufficiently retiring this decades-old system, customers long found it frustrating as this is part of Costco's latest major digital overhaul. And if you've never been in a Costco, there are times you see lines waiting to place their orders. Well, America's presidents and their steaks make for interesting conversation. Our personal taste has shaped the Oval Office. Americans reflect on leadership, history, and the men that shaped their nation on President's Day. But beyond speeches, diplomacy, there's one thread running from the founding era into the modern White House, and that's steak. Although steak was sometimes served at state dinners, it was more commonly prepared for the first family's private meals at the White House or at Camp David, according to Adrian Miller, a James Beard Award-winning culinary historian and Colorado-based author. Knowing what those dinners looked like offers a window into a president's personality and his soul, Miller told Fox News. Americans simultaneously want our president to be exceptional and at the same time a lot like us. And food is one area where they do show that they're like us. Well, Hakeem Jeffries vows pressure on Democratic Maryland Senate president, urging against the party's redistricting push. Jeffries is a Democrat from New York, vowed to apply pressure on Maryland's Democratic State Senate President Bill Ferguson, who spoke out against the Democratic-led plan to lead-draw the state's lone Republican in the House out of his district. Let's talk about Maryland because this is a fight within your own party. The governor, Wes Moore, is backing his plan to redraw the one Republican essentially out of his own district. This has passed the state House, but it's being held up in the state Senate by one man, State Senate President Bill Ferguson. Ferguson, who's not bringing this to the floor for a vote, according to CNN's Manu Rahu said during the Inside Politics. Could cost you the majority. Democratic State Senate President in Maryland. Well, there's fights at every level. Well, Prince William deliberately distanced himself from Prince Harry as he prepares for the throne, according to a royal butler. Deepening a rift that remains unresolved 6 years afterwards. The claim is made by Princess Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, who said he didn't believe the siblings would reconcile anytime soon, if they ever do. Elizabeth II, one-time footman, has written a new memoir called The Royal Insider, which he details his decades-long career serving in the British royal household in encounters behind the palace doors. I think William's distanced himself from Harry a lot more than people realize, he told Fox News. Because William's past very different from Harry's. As he gets nearer and nearer to the throne, which will be in just a few years, he has to remain isolated. He has to be in a world that's very tight and protected. He can't let things leak out. He doesn't want to live in a world with a leaky sieve. He doesn't want to live in a world that can't be controlled because to be a monarch, you have to control the environment. You have to look after the crown. And William is certainly doing his best to do that. Well, James Carville launched an expletive-filled rant predicting Democrats are going to beat the GOP's effing A's. Longtime Democratic strategist James Carville unleashed an expletive-filled rant Saturday, arguing that the Democratic Party is going to win the next two elections and defeat the GOP MFs. He closed the short video to his Politics War Room podcast, insisting the Democratic Party needs to embrace a sense of gallows humor and laugh heartily at Republicans ahead of the midterm election. I know we all got to get through this with difficult times, but never forget it's Mardi Gras, he said. And never forget if we don't develop a sense of gallows humor, then the bees have won. Where Carville's always been a man that marches to his own drummer. Well, a partial government shutdown is dragging on as DHS funding talks stall again. Partial government shutdown stretched another week after negotiations failed to reach a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security over the weekend. You know, Chuck Schumer is determined things are going to be his way or nobody's. Congress is in a week-long recess, is not scheduled to return to Washington until next week, leaving the shutdown's end in limbo as both parties remain far apart on key provisions. Senate Democrats are demanding a series of reforms to immigration and customs enforcement, a position they've maintained since the fatal shootings of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good during ICE operations in Minnesota. According to Schumer and his party, if you have a pulse, you should be allowed to come to this country and have the benefits of everything we can possibly give. The mere fact that laws say otherwise, well, we can't pay attention to law. We got to pay attention to what's good for the Democratic Party. Well, Spike Lee is wearing pro-Palestinian outfit to NBA All-Star game with Israeli-born player competing. He's seated outside in the Intuit Dome in Southern California for the NBA All-Star Game, but was his outfit that caught attention during the event. Wore a pro-Palestinian look to the festivities in Inglewood as the league put its new format on display, which featured World All-Stars and All-Stars from the U.S. on team stars and team stripes. The World All-Star featured Portland Trailblazers forward Denny Adija. First time an Israeli-born player appeared in an All-Star game. Wore the Arabian flag on the back of his jersey for that game. Lee didn't make any extra statement, but his outfit was enough of a message. According to what he had to say through the Times of Israel, feel like I come to play. I come with the entire nation. It's fun to show that it's possible, even for a small country like us. That's according to Denny Abdija. Well, these celebrities have to understand, if people come for a game, they don't want to discuss politics. They want to discuss the game. Well, a shipwreck hunter finds a luxury steamer that sank in Lake Michigan in 1872. Researchers have discovered a wreck of a luxury steamship that sank in Lake Michigan in 1872. They announced this past Friday. Shipwreck World, a group that looks to locate shipwrecks around the globe, announced the find last week, crediting a team led by Illinois shipwreck hunter Paul Ehorn. Ehorn, who's 80, says his team discovered the wreck of Lac La Belle, roughly 20 miles offshore, between Racine and Kenosha, Wisconsin, in October 2022. Added the announcement was delayed because his team planned to release three-dimensional video of the wreck along with the announcement. But the weather this past summer prevented access. Told the Associated Press he'd been searching for the Lac La Belle's location since 1965. Finally found it. Well, Florida congressional candidate is prioritizing home ownership as a key issue in the race. They, of course, Democrats are not. That's not a thing that they're really pushing for. They want political statements. Well, the food pyramid backlash is ongoing. The low-fat era may have fueled obesity, diabetes, and a number of other issues, says a doctor, Dr. Mark Hyman. Says a revamped food pyramid could help prevent obesity. Trump's administration's January rollout of the new inverted food pyramid has sparked some debate in nutrition circles. Places a stronger emphasis on dairy, red meats, and foods higher in fat. Top of the pyramid, which is now the wider part of the structure, is built on meats and fats and fruits and vegetables, with whole grains at the narrow bottom. Interview with Fox News Digital, Dr. Mark Hyman, co-founder of Function Health and author of the new book, Food Fix Uncensored, commented on the backlash the new guidelines have received. The Film Festival defends celebrities avoiding politics during press interviews as their right of free speech. I'm talking about the Berlin Film Festival, and the head of it defended actors and filmmakers that choose to avoid politics in press interviews in a lengthy statement Saturday night. Director Tricia Tuttle made the comments after actors like Neil Patrick Harris and Michelle Yeoh declined to comment on U.S. political matters, as well they should. They're entertainers. They are not politicians. Festival Jerry Head and German filmmaker Wim Wenders also came under scrutiny for fielding questions regarding the conflict in Gaza. Tuttle defended their political stances, adding that artists should not be expected to offer a brief soundbite on every political issue. And quite frankly, since many of them got their education in the studio system, which still has vestiges to this day, they're not experts. That's not what they do. Well, on that note, I'm going to get started on what we're talking about today. The a new series has been started on HudnallFiles.com. It's called The Shadow Zone, and that's paranormal military interactions. And that series came out of something interesting. Soldiers who don't scare easily and they don't embellish, but the same experiences kept getting described at completely different bases by completely different people. I'm not talking about horror stories. I'm talking about patterns. And that's what these series of books concern. 3 of that series is already out. I'm getting ready to put the stories together for number 4. During my military career, I was at several bases. I spent a couple of years at the Panama Canal Zone. Now, you want to talk about stories that are strange? Go to the Panama Canal Zone. I was one of the few officers who liked to just sit and talk about some of the Panamanians that we had working on the base. And they knew that I had an interest in the strange and the unusual, and that they have some stories to tell. Well, our main topic today is going to be talking about some more about Area 51. There's a lot of stories that came to light over the years about Roswell and the crash and bodies supposedly recovered and taken to Area 51. And that's an infamous location that's been surrounded by mystery for decades. Whole secrets aren't just written in classified government files, but actually concealed in plain sight. One year I took a busload of people there, and I announced it on a Wednesday on my show. I said, we'll go Friday evening. We'll spend Saturday and Sunday, possibly part of Monday. And I figured maybe I'd get, half a dozen folks, and couldn't fill the bus, so there wasn't no point in going. Well, I had to turn people away. So many people wanted to go. And while we were there, we saw a lot of strange things in the air above Area 51. In those days, you could still get up on Freedom Ridge, and we saw some strange activity on parts of that base. It's the world's most enigmatic military base. Its association with UFOs and extraterrestrial life and government cover-ups has fueled one of the most compelling conspiracy theories in modern history. So we're going to delve into some of the hidden evidence that the public's overlooked, or maybe deliberately ignored when it comes to understanding the true nature of this enigmatic base. From official declassified documents to cryptic photographs and videos and even eyewitness accounts, evidence points to a larger story, one that's been buried between layers of secrecy, deliberate misinformation, and controlled narratives. We're going to look at some of the key pieces of unseen evidence, as it's called, and examine how the public, despite having access to certain facts, is often kept in the dark about the truth. One of the most critical pieces of evidence lies in the declassified documents that have been slowly emerging over the years. Despite the tight grip on Area 51 secrecy, various records have been released, revealing more than the government would have liked to disclose. And these documents show various classified operations that have long been linked to the research and development of experimental aircraft, but also to what a lot of folks believe are attempts to cover up the existence of extraterrestrial technology. In 1997, the CIA declassified a trove of documents related to Area 51. A lot of these have been classified for decades. Documents primarily discuss projects like Project Oxcart, a top-secret U.S. Air Force program to develop the A-12 reconnaissance aircraft, and Project Aurora, a rumored hypersonic aircraft. However, what stands out among these documents are the peculiar mentions of the base's connection to unexplained materials that didn't fit the known technology of the day. In a brief but puzzling line from one of those reports, it specifically states unconventional materials may be stored on site, but their usage and origins remain classified. What kind of unconventional materials might they be talking about? This line raises more questions than it answers. Frankly, The question becomes, could these materials refer to alien technology, or are they simply advanced military-grade equipment beyond public comprehension? Another critical source of hidden evidence comes from eyewitnesses who've worked at or near Area 51. Over the years, several former employees of the base have come forward to describe strange occurrences they've witnessed while working there. These whistleblowers have provided a glimpse of the kind of activities that are often hidden from the public eye. Bob Lazar, one of the most famous whistleblowers in the history of Area 51, claimed to have worked on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology at a site near the base called S4. Lazar described seeing several flying saucers of unknown origin, being tasked with understanding their propulsion systems. In 1989, he went public with his allegations, providing details of the technology he supposedly worked on. He claimed the U.S. government was studying flying saucers that were powered by a material called Element 115, substance not found naturally on Earth. Now, his story was met with skepticism, but many aspects of his account, including the nature of the technology, eerily matched up with later scientific research and development. Lazar's testimony, along with those of other whistleblowers, offers a glimpse into what might be hidden beneath the surface. These individuals claim to have been involved in secret projects related to alien technology that suggests that the government has been harboring information far beyond what the public has been led to believe. And maybe one of the most disturbing and compelling pieces of hidden evidence comes from the mysterious photographs and videos that have surfaced over the years. While many have been dismissed as hoaxes or the product of overactive imagination, others do remain unexplained. Early 1990s, a photographer by the name of John Lear, former airline pilot and the son of the inventor of the Lear jet, took several photographs of strange craft near the area surrounding Area 51. And these photographs that show unidentified flying objects hovering near the base were later scrutinized by analysts who believe they might be evidence of highly advanced military aircraft, or maybe, just maybe, alien technology being tested. Additionally, videos taken by unknown sources have surfaced, showing what many believe to be objects flying in and out of Area 51. These recordings, some of which show erratic flight patterns that can't be replicated by any known aircraft, fuel the theory the U.S. government's been in contact with extraterrestrial entities and been reverse engineering their technology for decades. But despite the continuous flow of such images and videos, it remains shrouded in mystery, little to no official explanation provided. As a result, these pieces of evidence have become part of a much larger conspiracy theory that paints Area 51 as the focal point of global cover-up. Now, the significance of this evidence discussed in this segment can't be overstated. While a lot of it remains under wraps, the release of certain documents and photographs and testimonies of former insiders paint a picture of a hidden reality that most of the world hadn't yet fully understood. Excuse me. The importance of these findings is not just about proving the existence of extraterrestrial technology, but rather about understanding the bigger picture. If the government has been concealing information about UFOs and extraterrestrial life for so long, what else has it been hiding from the public? And what are the real reasons behind the secrecy surrounding Area 51? Now, for decades, the public has been fed a steady stream of disinformation, leading many to believe these subjects are nothing more than fantasy. But the truth, as revealed by this hidden evidence, may be far more complex than we suspect, far more unsettling, as it were, than anybody has imagined. As more documents are declassified, more whistleblowers come forward, and more pieces of the puzzle are revealed, it becomes clearer that the story of Area 51 is not one that can be easily dismissed. The evidence, though often hidden or downplayed, is there, and it points to a reality that could forever alter our understanding of history and technology and even the very nature of our existence. We've explored some of the most significant pieces of hidden evidence surrounding Area 51 in our various shows. From declassified documents to eyewitness testimonies and mysterious photographs, the facts speak for themselves. While the government continues to deny any connection between Area 51 and extraterrestrial technology, the mounting evidence suggests that there's far more to the story than we're being told. So the question remains, why is the government hiding? What is the government hiding? And why has it worked so hard to keep the truth under wraps? Only time will tell, but as more evidence comes to light, Truth about Area 51 may finally be revealed, much to the world's astonishment. Now, the name is synonymous, Area 51, with mystery and secrecy. It's woven itself into the very fabric of global pop culture. And it's more than just a military base in Nevada. It's become a symbol of the unknown, a place where government cover-ups and extraterrestrial conspiracies intersect. And over the decades, it's inspired countless works of fiction and movies and television shows and books and even music. Mythology surrounding the base has grown far beyond its real-world origins, taking on a life of its own. Well, we're going to talk about how Area 51 has influenced pop culture, shaped public perceptions of the UFO phenomena, government secrecy, and alien life. Through films and TV shows and the global phenomena of Area 51 has been responsible for urban legends and conspiracy theories. And the legend of Area 51 has transcended its physical location, evolved into a cultural touchstone, symbolizing humanity's fascination with the unknown. And the story of Area 51's influence on pop culture is as much about its secrecy as about the stories that people have crafted about it. For decades, the government's refusal to acknowledge the base, let alone its activities, has only fueled speculation. In the 1950s and 60s, the UFO phenomena gained significant momentum, with multiple reported sightings of aerial phenomena. The public, hungry for answers, is captivated by the idea that secret military installations like Area 51 are behind the mysterious sightings. If you go to Amazon Kindle, I've got a book there called Shadow Stations, which talks about some of the hidden bases besides Area 51. One of the earliest significant pop culture references to Area 51 came in 1967 when Frank Scully, a journalist and author, published Behind the Flying Saucers. And in that book, he claimed the U.S. government had in its possession of alien spacecraft, and it had it for years. This wasn't just the beginning of alien conspiracy theories, it also marked the start of Area 51's entry into the mainstream culture. And Scully's book would later become one of the many pieces of literature that contributed to the building mythos of the base. The film industry has played a major role in shaping the public's perception of Area 51. It's nearly impossible to talk about the influence of the base on pop culture without discussing the films that immortalized its lore. Maybe one of the most iconic representations of Area 51 in the film was Steven Spielberg's 1977 blockbuster Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And that film that revolves around the mysterious appearance of extraterrestrial beings includes a notable scene set at a secret military base that a lot of folks believed was a reference to Area 51. I know the base is never explicitly named, its depiction as a top-secret government facility studying UFOs and alien life is a direct nod to the real-world Area 51. Well, the next major film to further cement Area 51's place in pop culture was Roland Emmerich's Independence Day in 1996. This high-budget science fiction movie centers around an alien invasion of Earth, which with much of the government's research into extraterrestrial technology being conducted in secret in Area 51. In that film, the base is portrayed as a place where the government stores a captured alien spacecraft, using its technology to develop advanced weapons. This film portrays an portrayal of Area 51 as the focal point for alien research, helped perpetuate the belief that the base was indeed the site of extraterrestrial encounters and technological discoveries. Well, following Independence Day, other films continued to explore Area 51 as a key plot point. In 1997, it was Men in Black, a comedic take on extraterrestrial encounters featuring a secret government agency tasked with monitoring and controlling alien activity on Earth. Though that film doesn't focus on Area 51 directly, it's clear the agency's work draws on the widespread lore surrounding the base. And then there's the TV show The X-Files. Came out in 1993 and ran to 2018. One of the most influential TV shows in history when it comes to UFOs and aliens and government cover-ups. Show centers around FBI agents investigating paranormal phenomena, including extraterrestrial sightings. Over time, the X-Files developed a mythology centered on Area 51, where secret government experiments and alien technology were stored. as well as studied, according to many. The show's portrayal of the base as a central hub of government secrecy became deeply entrenched in pop culture. Those iconic theme song and tense conspiracy-driven storylines, the X-Files, popularized the notion Area 51 is the central focus of the government's UFO-related activities. Now today, Area 51 has transcended its physical location. It's now a cultural icon. It's been referenced in music and literature and internet memes. It's been woven into the fabric of a digital age where conspiracy theories and UFO enthusiasts can share their ideas and build on the mythology that's grown over the years. Proliferation of social media has ensured the legend of Area 51 remains alive and well, with new generations continuing to explore the mysteries. In recent years, the influence of Area 51 in pop culture has been amplified through social media. 2019, a Facebook event titled Storm Area 51. They Can't Stop All of Us went viral. Initially meant as a joke, the event quickly turned into an international phenomenon. Thousands of people claiming it attempt to storm the base and uncover its secrets. Though that event was ultimately a humorous social media stunt that underscored how deeply ingrained Area 51 had become in popular culture. Now, the storming of Area 51 didn't take place as planned, but it did give rise to a massive number of memes and parodies and even music videos. One of the most popular was the viral Area 51 raid anthem on YouTube, which quickly gained millions of views. The names and videos surrounding the storming of Area 51 further solidified its place in modern pop culture as a fun, bizarre, and enduring part of conspiracy theory lore. When I did my show in California, Adventure Radio, I had a individual who said he was an undercover agent assigned to the security force at Area 51. He said, I said, well, every unit has a name. Give me the name of that unit you're assigned to. He said, well, it was called Yellow Fruit, which I thought had a certain appeal, if you're forgive the pun. So later when I talked to a friend of mine, I still maintain contact with, assigned to Department of Defense, I asked him if he'd ever heard the name Yellow Fruit assigned to a unit. He went deadly silent. He said, where'd you hear that? And I told him. He said, you can't tell anybody. I'm telling you, I haven't told anybody else. He said, that is the name of a security force. I can't tell you where it's stationed, but it is the name we give to this security force. Well, the influence of Area 51 has been extended into the music world, with artists incorporating themes of secrecy and aliens and UFOs into their work. Popular bands and musicians have referenced the base, often portraying it as a symbol of government cover-ups and extraterrestrial research. Tom DeLonge's musical career, particularly with his band Angels and Airwaves, themes of alien life and government conspiracy play a central role in a lot of their songs. His fascination with UFOs and extraterrestrial life has led him to actively investigate these phenomena. He's spoken about his desire to expose the truth about Area 51 in various interviews. Now, I had heard stories about what they call the camo guys furnishing security at Area 51. Allegedly, they were a group of individuals who would crawl around in the brush and hide in the desert to make sure nobody trespassed. And I thought, yeah. But when we took that bus to Area 51, I had a portable scanner. And I thought, if nothing else, I might pick up some people talking about the base. Actually, I wound up hearing some of the camo guys discussing watching the people on the bus. So the stories about the camo guys were, in fact, true. They did crawl around in the bushes, or the brush, as it were. Well, The Offspring, in their song All I Want, references the mystery of Area 51 with lyrics that imply the existence of aliens and secret government operations. Though a mysterious take on the subject, it did show how the mythos surrounding the base has permeated into popular music culture. The influence of Area 51 also extends to literature. A lot of authors have incorporated the base into their fictional works. The books you'll find on HudnallFiles.com and on Amazon Kindle that I and my writing partner Sharon had put out do reference Area 51 and a lot of activities regarding UFOs, and they are nonfiction. Authors such as Whitley Strieber and John Lear have written books that delve into the secretive nature of Area 51, intertwining government conspiracy theories with extraterrestrial mythology. In novels like Communion in 1987, Strieber discussed his alleged alien abduction experience that he believes was tied to the activities at Area 51. In the world of video games, Area 51 has appeared as a central element in several titles, including the 1999 arcade game of the same name. First-person shooter, players are tasked with escaping from the base while facing off against hostile aliens and military personnel. And the game, like so many works of fiction, further cemented Area 51's place and is the ultimate symbol of secrecy and alien technology. The enduring impact of Area 51 in pop culture can't be overstated. Early days of UFO sightings to its immortalization of Hollywood blockbusters, Area 51 has become the ultimate symbol of secrecy and alien life and government cover-ups. Continues to inspire a range of creative works across various media and remains a central figure in conspiracy theories. And as long as Area 51 continues to exist, it's going to fuel the imagination of artists and filmmakers and writers. And for the public, it remains a symbol of the unknown, an enigmatic place where maybe the answers to some of the greatest questions of our time are hidden just beyond reach. Area 51 undoubtedly remain a fixture in popular culture for years to come, keeping its secrets and captivating the world's curiosity in equal measures. Well, as the decades roll on, the allure of Area 51 continues to captivate the imagination of millions of people around the world. Its association with secrecy and government cover-ups and extraterrestrial research has turned it into a symbol of both fear and fascination. But as we move further into the 21st century, what's the future of bases like Area 51? Is it just a relic of Cold War paranoia and conspiracy theories, or will new developments force the world to confront its mysteries once and for all? Well, we're going to talk about the future of Area 51, examining the ongoing government secrecy surrounding the base, the implications of recent revelations, and continued fascination with its mysteries. For new government transparency initiatives to the possibility of scientific disclosure of extraterrestrial life, the future of Area 51 remains uncertain, but its legacy continues to shape how we view the unknown. In the past, the government's response to inquiries about Area 51 has been one of complete denial. For years, officials would neither confirm or deny the existence of the base. Strategy kept the base shrouded in mystery and secrecy, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories. On the edge of Area 51 is a little town called Rachel, Nevada. Permanent population was about 12 when I was wandering around it. And scattered across the desert was a series of trailers that they had converted into what they laughingly called the Rachel Hilton. You could go and stay there for a few nights and watch some of the strange lights that left and came back to Area 51. But in recent years, U.S. government slowly begun to change its approach to how it covers up Area 51. One of the most significant turning points came in 2017 when the New York Times published an article revealing the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. It's a secret Pentagon initiative that had studied UFOs and other identified aerial phenomena. Revelation of the AATIP was a huge moment for UFO enthusiasts, as it was the first time the U.S. government acknowledged the existence of an official program dedicated to studying the unexplained. Although that program didn't specifically mention Area 51, it opened the door for greater transparency regarding UFO phenomena. 2020, the Pentagon declassified several videos showing UFOs captured by U.S. military pilots. These videos, which were widely spread on social media, further stoked public interest in the subject of extraterrestrial life and government cover-ups. The release of this footage signaled a shift toward acknowledging the unknown. A lot of folks believed it could lead to a larger conversation about what's really happening at Area 51. Well, the push for transparency and disclosure is gaining momentum. Recently, members of Congress have begun to ask pointed questions about the existence of extraterrestrial life, military cover-ups, and the role of bases like Area 51. Political pressure continues to mount. It's possible that future revelations are going to change the narrative about Area 51 and bring us closer to understanding the true nature of the phenomenon that's long been associated with the base for so long. While government transparency is evolving, advancements in technology also promise to open new doors in the investigation of Area 51 and other secretive military installations. In the past, UFO enthusiasts and researchers and journalists have had to rely on grainy footage and witness testimony and old rumors to put together the story of Area 51. However, with the advent of satellite imaging and drone technology and advanced infrared cameras, it's become easier than ever for civilians to observe and monitor restricted areas from afar. Satellite imaging has already made a significant impact on the study of Area 51. Companies like Planet Labs and Maxar Technologies provide high-resolution satellite images that can track changes at military installations around the world, including Area 51. These images can show construction, movement of military vehicles, even the unusual activity near the base. Though these images can't directly confirm the presence of extraterrestrial technology, they do provide valuable insight into what's happening at the base. I got the hiccups. Another technology that's helping to shed light on secret government activities is the use of drones. Drones are becoming increasingly sophisticated, capable of capturing high-definition videos and infrared imagery. Some enthusiasts have already used drones to conduct flyovers of Area 51, capturing footage of the base and surrounding areas. And while these flyovers are often illegal and heavily scrutinized by the U.S. government, they do represent a growing trend of civilian involvement in uncovering the mystery surrounding Area 51. Infrared technology is also improving the ability to detect objects that are invisible to the naked eye. Military installations like Area 51 are often shrouded in secrecy, and officials are known to take extraordinary measures to keep activities at the base hidden. But infrared sensors can detect heat signatures from aircraft and military vehicles and other activity that might otherwise be undetectable. As infrared technology becomes more advanced, it's going to likely provide new insights into the technology activities taking place at the base. And together, these technological advances represent a new era in the investigation of Area 51. While the base's mysteries will never be fully revealed, these tools allow researchers and civilians to ask new questions and gather evidence that was once impossible to obtain. The rise of the internet and social media has brought about a new era of conspiracy theories surrounding Area 51. Platforms like Reddit and YouTube and Twitter, or X, has allowed people to share their ideas, experiences, and theories about the base with a global audience. And this has led to the creation of entire online communities dedicated to uncovering the truth about Area 51, aliens, and UFOs. These online communities have played an important role in shaping the future of Area 51 lore. While some of the theories are outlandish and unsubstantiated, others have brought attention to legitimate questions about the base. And many online theorists believe the U.S. government's hiding information about extraterrestrial life, and they're using platforms like Facebook and X to rally support for their cause. One notable example is the Storm Area 51 event that took place in 2019. What started out as a joke on Facebook quickly turned into a massive viral event with millions of people expressing their intention to storm the base and uncover its secrets. Although that event was mostly a humorous social media stunt, it demonstrated the enduring fascination that the people have with Area 51 and the lengths to which they're willing to go to uncover the truth. The future conspiracy theories surrounding Area 51 is likely to continue to evolve. As more information is declassified and more people gain access to advanced technology, the possibility of uncovering the truth about the base becomes more likely. However, as history has shown, even when new information is revealed, it often raises more questions than it answers, keeping the public engaged in the mystery for years to come. And while Area 51 remains at the center of the UFO conspiracy narrative, the growing focus on UFOs and extraterrestrial life suggests the next chapter in the story of Area 51 may not be about secrecy, but actually about openness. The classification of UFO footage and the growing interest in extraterrestrial life from both the public and the scientific community may eventually lead to the government disclosing more information about its research. U.S. government's increased openness about UFOs, particularly through programs like the AATIP, has sparked interest in what the next steps are going to be. Could it be on the verge of discovering proof of extraterrestrial life? Is Area 51 going to play a role in this revelation? The future of Area 51 may very well be shaped by these developments, as the base has long been at the heart of government research into UFO and alien technology. Additionally, new scientific initiatives are being developed to explore the possibilities of life beyond Earth. The SETI Institute, for example, is working on advanced methods of detecting extraterrestrial signals. Missions like NASA's James Webb Space Telescope are searching for signs of life on distant exoplanets. The next few decades consider a significant shift in how humanity views its place in the universe, and Area 51 may play a role in that transformation. The future of Area 51 remains uncertain, but one thing is certainly clear. Its influence is not likely to fade anytime soon. As government transparency increases, technology advances, and conspiracy theories evolve, the mythos surrounding Area 51 will continue to evolve and grow. And whether or not the base is truly hiding extraterrestrial life or advanced technology, it's always going to serve as a symbol of humanity's curiosity and about the unknown. In the years to come, the mystery of Area 51 will continue to capture the public's imagination, ensuring its legacy is going to persist well into the future. And as we move forward, the question remains, is the truth about Area 51 ever going to be revealed? Or it's going to remain locked away, a secret kept for generations to come? Only time is going to tell, but one thing is for certain. The mystery of Area 51 will continue to intrigue and fascinate us for years. For over 8 decades, the very mention of Area 51 has sparked curiosity and fear and endless questions across the world. Tucked away in the vast silence of the Nevada desert, protected by top-tier military security and surrounded by rumors that stretch the boundaries of science fiction and reality, it's become clear it's not just a base. It's a myth in and of itself. Through our shows, we've traveled deep into those shadows and we've examined documented aircraft test programs that shaped the Cold War, uncovered testimonies from engineers and military personnel who speak in hushed tones about what they've seen and touched. And we've talked about the town of Roswell, where we used to speak until we became politically unacquired. There's a lot of power struggle behind the scenes as certain writers who were unhappy their books were no longer on the New York Times bestseller list tried to become relevant again. And to do that, they had to get the competition done away with. I was part of that competition. In addition to the Shadow Zone series that I've talked about, if you got an interest in historical mysteries, you might check out the Assassination Files. They're not about theories. They're about records. When you put the timelines together in one place, you start seeing things that don't appear when the story is told in pieces. For example, very few people realize that there's quite a bit of evidence. John Wilkes Booth didn't die in the barn on Garrett's farm. It was a cohort of his. Booth supposedly escaped and died a number of years later, here in Texas, as a matter of fact. Well, on that note, we've come to the end of today's show. I urge you to check out all the books that you can find on HudnallFiles.com. And if you enjoy the show and want to support it, the best way is to read the work behind it. And all the books are found on HudnallFiles.com or on Amazon Kindle. And every book you purchase, and they're all available as ebooks, you can know that you're helping support further delving into the mysteries that surround us. Well, until tomorrow at this time, this is Ken Hudnall for the Ken Hudnall Show saying have a truly great evening.